this way out. That's Radhe Krishna, Prabhupada. And then broadcast. So just start the broadcast. Output settings.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya.
Oh, that's the thing. Now this little boy is working on it, so we need to.
Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Jaya. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamakyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurunna Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So very honored to be here today at ISKCON of Silicon Valley, and I'll try to present from a little realization from this ocean of Krishna consciousness. So today's presentation will be basically on a holistic Krishna consciousness, and I've been trying to focus on this theme for many years. In fact, me and my wife for the last about 13 years traveling both in India and now in the US. So for many of you might not know me, my name is Gaur Natraj Das. So I live in New Vrindavan, and I travel and mostly preach Krishna consciousness. We are also opening a new yoga center in New Vrindavan for holistic yoga to attract many young people, many Westerners, a lot of efforts going on there. So as a part of it, I had also written quite some time back a book called Krishna Yoga, how to apply yoga or a lifestyle, of good health, good mind in the service of Krishna. So also recently we had done a Bhagavad Gita crash course. Everybody likes a crash course, right? Everything should be very fast. So we tried to crash everything and try to give the essence. So connection between the chapters. So I'll try my best to... Balimardhan Prabhu, I was speaking to him on what do you present. So he said we had a lot of japa seminars. So that's what I do in general. He said you have had a lot of japa seminars and we had a lot of nutshells, right? Bhagavad Gita in nutshell, everything. So I would like to present a holistic approach in Krishna consciousness, how every element of what we do can be moderated according to Krishna consciousness, how we can apply everything in our day-to-day life on the basis of Krishna consciousness. So what is Krishna consciousness? So I call it the word Krishna Yoga, basically just as a brand or just as a presentation wherever I go. I mean, not just for devotees, but even in general, for people outside, I use the word Krishna Yoga. Yoga for the service of Krishna. The first seminar that we did in Mayapur, we called it Be Fit to Serve Krishna. Right? We need to be fit, isn't it? When I was young, I had a discussion with my classmate. He works in some software company here. And we were discussing about, I forget the name of the guy. There was a chess champion, Russian, some Anatoly Karpov or something. And we were discussing about how to be intelligent, right? How, because Krishna Yoga is, Krishna consciousness is basically intelligence, isn't it? So, does it mean he has to be physically fit? How does his mind work? How does his intelligence work, right? So, this is the same question even posed by Arjuna to Krishna. Anyone remembers the question? In the second chapter, Krishna asks Arjuna that what is Sthita Prajnasya Ka Bhasha, right? What is the language? Of course, it is English nowadays, right? So, what is the language of a self-realized soul? Samadhistasya Keshava Sthitadi Kim Prabhasheta Kim Asita Vrajeta Kim. So, how do we reach from the present status of life, where we are, to the level of Krishna consciousness? So what is meant by Krishna consciousness? To be aware of Krishna 24 hours a day. So everything is regulated, everything is planned out in such a way that everything we do, even if you look at our time, everything is planned out for the service of Krishna. One thing I learned from my spiritual master, His Holiness Bhakti Raghav Swami, is every time you hear from his initiation classes, he says, initiation means not the end, right? Now I'm initiated. Now whatever happens, my guru will take me back. No. He said, initiation means it is the beginning. And a devotee who wants to get initiated, he must have a plan. A devotee goes out with a plan, right? So without a plan, okay, Krishna has his plan, right? But at least Krishna will reveal to you, isn't it? In the 6th chapter, Krishna says, right? What does Krishna say? Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahitaha. That one who has quietened the mind, one who has controlled the mind, paramatma samahitaha. He can take instructions, he can take guidance from the Paramatma. So we should be able to take guidance and see, like answers are found everywhere, just like I do astrology. So in astrology, we have an art called Prashna. Prashna means when somebody walks in and he asks a question, you immediately pull out a horoscope of that time at that place, and that has the answer. So there is a revelation. So similarly, of course, by different lakshana, by different ways, by different people, by different types of signs, Krishna indicates us, right, what to do. Like, for example, Bilva Mangal Thakur. Everybody's heard about Bilva Mangal Thakur, right? Who was he inspired by? The Chintamani, the prostitute, correct? And what was that? He came after all the trouble. How many of you know this story? How many of you don't know this story? If you don't know, I'll quickly explain. Yeah. So Bilva Mangala Thakur was a very rich man. Of course, he's a liberated soul, but he's a very rich, spoiled boy. Like most rich people, right? Children. So they are all spoiled. So he is very eager to associate with this prostitute. And that day, it's raining very heavy. And verse to verse, that is his father has died, and he's telling the pujari, finish this fast, I have to go. And he's so eager to go there. Finish this fast. And then he goes to the river, and no boatman is going there, right? Just when there is snow in West Virginia, like where I come from, usually if there is snow, flights are delayed, cancelled, isn't it? So like that, the boats are cancelled. So, but he is so eager to go and meet this prostitute, he jumps into the river. And there, he thinks there is a log of wood, but what he hangs on is a dead body. His body is stinking. Crosses the river, goes to her house. And because she is waiting for a long time and it's kind of dark, she closes the door. Now he climbs the balcony. With what? There is a snake hanging there. So, thinking it as a rope, he climbs it. Because when you are delusioned, right? Illusion, you do anything. So after climbing up, he realizes it is a snake. But then finally enters her room, stinking, smelling so bad. And when Chintamani looks at him, she says, if you had this attraction for the Lord, by now you would have been a devotee. He is shocked. That I have come so far, fighting all these elements, and now this is what I get to hear. Right? Usually what do we want? Please come in, so nice to see you. Right? And here he gets the opposite welcome. So similarly, we can take, we should come to a point where our mind is calm. Krishna consciousness means to do things in a conscious, calm and a very intelligent way. I was traveling with Jayadvaita Swami for 3 months as his personal servant. And every day I would get so many, heavy feedback for all the mistakes that I do. In the end, Jayadvaita Maharaj asked me, what did you learn? What did you learn from your experience of staying with me? So I said, yes, I learned how foolish I am. I told him, I realized the depth of my foolishness. So that's when you actually realize that Krishna consciousness is very powerful intelligence at work. You need to be really intelligent to see things what others cannot see. Hmm? To be able to come to that point where one is one pointed in concentration. A yogi means he is very, very concentrated. A yogi already has, there are three things which are required for success in life. When I was studying astrology, His Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu is a proper disciple in India. Now he lives in Bangalore. He used to tell me always there are three things which are required for success. So what are the three things? Money, 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 right? No. What is that? The three things are, first he said, is concentration of mind. First thing is concentration of mind. Second thing is persistent effort. What is it? Persistent effort. And third is grace of God. Right? So two things, all the three things are basically in our hands. So concentration of mind. So with right knowledge, I will tell you one sutra from the Patanjali Yoga Sutras. This is the book I translated actually in my book Krishna Yoga. In that he says, Patanjali says, Satu dirgha kala nairantarya satkara sevita drada bhumihi. Which yogi is successful? You know, who is successful in yoga? Right? In the practice of yoga, in attaining liberation. He says, Satu dirgha kala. One who is ready to practice for a long time. Frankly speaking, when I first came to Krishna consciousness, I thought chanting, so somebody told me, the number of words that are there, into 1,000 if you chant, your moksha is done. So I calculated, so I thought, if I chant 16 rounds, 1.5 years, I am done. Right? So I was calculating, if I do this much, I am done. Right? Then my siddhi is done. But then my preacher told me, no, now you have to chant till you die. I said, my God, I am stuck. There's no end in this, right? No, it's eternal, right? Even after you die, you will do the same thing. I said, my God, right? But this is true. This is what you have to do before. This is what you will do after. Just chant the glories of the Lord. So, Krishna consciousness in this, the Satu Dirgha Kala. A yogi means he understands this is eternal. So once you are in this, that's it, right? Now I have to regulate myself. I have to ensure that I practice throughout my life. Throughout my life. There is no end in this. I cannot take a break. I cannot take a sabbatical from Krishna consciousness. Right? After 2 years after initiation, I have chanted so many rounds. Maybe I need a break for a month, right? You cannot. So no matter how many you chant today, you have to chant 16 at least 16 tomorrow, isn't it? So, Satu Dirgha Kala, one is ready to practice for a long period of time. Nairantarya, consistent. You hear the word consistent, right? Consistency is the key, isn't it? So we should be consistent in our daily practice. Consistency is the key. Just like in exams, one who is successful, I really saw when exams come closer, we go to the nearest chai shop, spend the whole night there, right? Reading and drinking tea, isn't it? But one who reads every day, my physics teacher, his name was Ivy Rao, very nice. I really remember him. He was a Brahmin and lived close to a temple. He used to teach us physics, tuitions. His children were the first in college everywhere, They everywhere till the end of their life, they were first, till they got their job, whatever. Why? Because when the children were very young, like 5th standard, 6th standard, he had this practice of putting them in their room and just locking the room. No TV, no nothing. Just their books. He said, if you just give these 2.5 hours, every day, without fail, your study on a consistent basis, you don't have to slog during your exam. If you do your work regulatedly, you don't leave everything for the end. Right? You do it on a consistent basis. So the children were regulated in such a way, after some time, that 2 hours that the children spent, they did not need their father to forcibly lock in their room. They just loved it. Because it was a part of their lifestyle. It was a habit, isn't it? So that habit continued for a long period of time. So what we cultivate, so cultivating Krishna consciousness means cultivating our consistent sadhana over a long-term basis, right? So that requires a little planning, isn't it? So I see what is lacking in me. So we will talk about that, right? What are the different elements where you can plan out. And Dirghakala Satkara Sevita. Many of you, I hear from here, come from software background, right? Like software companies. So one thing that is very consistent in software is change, right? New software comes, new update comes. There is no downgrade. There is only upgrade, correct? You don't support our downgraded product. Support is only for upgrades. So there is a consistent education, isn't it? There's consistent improvement. So similarly, a yogi means he has to keep cultivating higher knowledge, apply what he has already learnt, and always yearn for higher knowledge. And one thing good about in this temple is there is so many seminars on how to study, how to read, right? How to by heart shlokas. There are so many, especially by Vaisheshika Prabhu. It's so wonderful. So we need to cultivate that. We need to continuously keep learning. Satkara Sevita Drada Bhumihi. You understand clearly what is the goal of your practice. Like for example, in Pune, one devotee lost his tongue. Initiated devotee lost his tongue due to some accident. He could not speak anymore. He lost his speaking power. So now what do you do? But what is the goal of chanting? What is the goal of chanting? To finish 16 rounds, right? No. The goal of chanting is to remember Krishna, right? Ultimately, we should be able to remember Krishna all the time, isn't it? So this devotee, all the devotees sat down and to discuss how to help this devotee, right? What do you do? So then, even if you cannot physically, verbally chant your mantra, you can chant your mantra mentally. And that is true. You can chant mentally. It's the same thing. Haridas Thakur used to chant verbally, loudly, softly and mentally. Just like our Gayatri mantra, we chant it mentally, isn't it? So if we understand the goal of our practice, then even in the most difficult circumstances, we will know how to apply it. Right? So that is what is very, very important. To take the right decisions. I'm sure many of you would have heard this joke. There are so many. One reporter asks a very successful businessman, how come you are so successful in your business? He says, right decisions. He says, okay, how do you always make right decisions? He says, experience. This man says, how do you gain experience? Wrong decisions, right? So, we also, according to our level of understanding, we apply, we fail, we learn, and we cultivate, isn't it? So we have to continuously improve our level of wisdom, keep applying. But in the end, he says in that sutra, Drada Bhumihi. Drada Bhumihi means unwaveringly fixed on your goal. In Krishna consciousness, there is nothing called failure. Even if you tried to chant, right, you failed. You tried to read Bhagavad Gita, but you cannot. But you tried very sincerely. You tried to do something. You tried to say, raise funds or this or that. Any activity in Krishna consciousness, but you were not very successful or whatever. There is nothing called failure in Krishna consciousness because Krishna is the endeavor, not the result. Right? The endeavor is the most important thing. But you are fixed. But as you improve, like in our temple in New Vrindavan, there was one very senior devotee. I asked him, somehow very old man, and every day I saw him in Mangalarti sitting and chanting, very seriously attending the full morning program and everything. I asked him, Prabhuji, nowadays you look pretty serious. It's like, what hit you? I mean, what happened? He said, see, I am getting old. And in his dream, Lord Narasimha came and said, now prepare to come to me. He said, that was it, He said, now I have decided, and that is it. Now I am not going to miss anything. So every day is there from morning Mangalarti to Bhagavatam class. He said, Prasadam he has his own, but every day he's there, and he said, at one point of time you have to decide, I have to chant, I have to read, I have to be in complete consciousness of Krishna, I have to prepare. It was very inspiring. But we don't have to wait till then, right? Till Narasimhadev comes in our dream. We can do it before that, right? So, let's go to the next slide. So, Krishna consciousness, highest form of yoga. So, Bhaktivinoda Thakur insisted or focused on three things, very important things we need to have. I'm sure you would have heard about this. Health, sadhana and service, right? Health is first. As a matter of fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur had a very bad health, frankly speaking. He is a liberated soul. How many hours he slept? Anybody knows? How many hours Bhaktivinoda Thakur slept? 2 to 3 hours. That's it, maximum. The rest of the time was, everything was so regulated. Despite he had some 13 kids or something. That one kid blows off your mind. 2 is like blowing both the sides, right? We had 13 kids. Of course, that time the time was different, but he was so regulated, so deep, but he understood the pain that you cannot just ordinarily follow this schedule, right? Like we tried the Goswami schedule, like sleeping half an hour, right? When we were in college, we were like so eager to become Goswamis. Then we were sick for the next 1 week. So we don't want that. So we have to be consistent, right? So first thing is one needs to have good health. Now what is good health? What do you mean by good health? There is the physical good health, right? Like in the Ayurveda, it is defined as samadoshaha samagnischa samadhatu malakriyaha prasanna atmendriya manaha swasta ityabhidhiyate. What is meant by healthy? That the tridosha, right? Kapha, pitta, vata, they are balanced. Of course, that takes a long time to explain, but Prabhupada also explains that. Kapha, pitta, vata. So balanced dhatus. Then balanced, there are 7 dhatus in the body. So when you eat food, it becomes rasa, rakta, then it becomes muscles, mamsa, muscles are digested, it becomes fat, majja, then it becomes bones, and then it becomes bone marrow. And from bone marrow is where the blood comes, right? So all these things. So it says, when all these digest, there are 7 elements in the body and there are 7 fires. It explains in Ayurveda. When all these fires are balanced, and most importantly, prasanna atmendriya manaha, when the body is peaceful, not agitated, right? If you see in general, when they are playing cricket or they are watching some video game, they are always at the brink, correct? Agitated. Not agitated, peaceful. When you look at a devotee, he is very, very disturbed? No, peaceful. You cannot be a disturbed devotee, right? You have to be a peaceful devotee. Yogi means he is peaceful. Atma indriya manaha, controlled senses. Right? As soon as the class is over, we have to run for the prasadam line, right? No. So we have to be very peaceful. So, prasanna atma indriya manaha. Only when the mind is peaceful, mind is silent. Like yesterday, day before yesterday, in Apple Valley, we had a doctor's forum. So I was doing a japa seminar. So what was the first thing in doing japa, in preparation? The one thing I usually apply, one thing I usually tell is, when you sit for chanting your rounds, first of all, you have to switch off your material identification. Because it takes a few rounds to get out of your mind, right? You start hearing in the 5th round. Isn't it? Till then the mind is very disturbed. But why can't we do it in the first round? The momentum is so fast. The momentum is so fast. So, first thing is, I said, I usually explain this phenomenon that you learn to turn off. When I look at here, people, I see body. I see, the nice t-shirt, nice jacket, this and that. But I don't see Atma, 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 Atma and Paramatma. Am I able to see that? No, I'm not trained. I'm not practiced that way. So first thing when you sit down is, I switch off the light of the body and I see only the light of the soul. So who am I when I begin to chant? I am not chanting for a better job or better anything, or green card or citizenship, nothing. I am chanting to please Krishna, to cultivate the relation of the soul with Supreme Soul. That is all my goal. Right? For that I have to turn off all material identification. So first, be situated in your identity. That is sometimes the most difficult thing to do. I'll tell you one talking about chanting, I'll give you one essential, very beautiful thing that I heard, which I always feel like sharing. So every year I go to this Shivananda Yoga Center in Bahamas, and they have a lot of nice yoga presentations. And there was this one person called Richard Miller. And he, in California, he does yoga nidra for veterans, PTSD, right? So they are traumatized, right? To get them out of trauma. The best thing it said, he has a scientific evaluation of meditational practices. And they measured meditation, the effects of meditation. He said when you sit down regularly, when I just sit down, there is a stream of thoughts, right? Everybody, when you sit down, you get your stream of thoughts. Capital One, Chase, right? Bank of America, right? As soon as you sit down, my wife, first child, bill, whatever, right? Everything is in a circle. He calls it your default network. You sit down and it starts spinning, right? You don't have to do anything, it's automatically. And sometimes it's very heavy on you, right? The spinning energy is very fast. But he says when you meditate, when you start to meditate, you develop a meditative network of thoughts. Right? We develop a meditative network of thoughts. But as soon as you come out of your meditative network, as soon as you finish your chanting, you immediately get into prasadam, right? No. As soon as we come out of that, all these thoughts come back heavily. Or rather, they are dominating, and sometimes we are meditative. No, we are meditative and these thoughts come back, he says. But he says that according to his research, when this meditation is very deep and is done for a long period of time, if you have seen Buddhist meditation, anybody seen the meditation on the sound of the gong? They sit under a huge stupa, right? Huge big building, and everybody sits in a beautiful formation. And everybody is like sitting there, and there's a beautiful sound of the gong. Everything is silent. Just focusing on that. It's like an Om sound. Basically, it's like a Om sound. And they chant this mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. Like thousands of these monks chanting just this one mantra, one vibration. And they do it for long period of time. And he said that when you meditate for long periods of time, when you come out of that meditation, your default network comes back, but your meditative network does not turn off. Means you are always in a meditative state of mind. And all your material problems or material spinning thoughts that are there, they are filtered through this meditative network. Like in Yoga Nidra, to get these traumatized veterans out of trauma, the technique that he uses, in Yoga Nidra what you do, you lie down. Actually I did this for Radha Govinda Maharaj when he had a stroke, to relax, and we meditated on Paramatma. And that's the goal of yoga. But what do you do in Yoga Nidra? You relax, you lie down and you meditate on all different parts of your body by deep breathing, and it relaxes, right? All the body parts relax. And then you can meditate on something. You follow commands. What is his command? You are traumatized. That's why you're here. Focus on yourself who is unaffected by all trauma, who is never traumatized. Actually, he's focusing on the soul. It was so wonderful. But when you do it slowly, in a peaceful manner, right? And then the focus is so beautifully there. And he says, the experience of these veterans, some of these come with guns. They want to kill themselves. They say, if this doesn't work, doc, I will shoot myself, right? Or he may shoot anybody. But then after the Yoga Nidra course, the veterans say, okay, now I will sell my gun. I don't need it. Right? So that's the power of keeping your mind calm and having the right goal of meditation. So similarly, when we chant, this is our highest form of meditation. We can also very, very concentratedly hear the holy name. Right? So that is our ultimate sadhana. That is the best we can do within our given circumstance. So, one needs to have a peaceful mind. Peaceful mind arouses good intelligence. So good health means it is not just about physical health, but it is mental, intellectual, meditative. So then next comes sadhana. So if your health is good, you are strong, you can sit down and can chant. Like if you have a toothache, you are always thinking about the toothache, right? So if you happen to die at that moment, what will you become? Your tooth. Right? No. So anyway, so good sadhana means you have good service attitude. So this is the basic premise. Now let's go to the next slide. That is the Panchakosha. So Panchakosha, very important to understand from the holistic yoga point of view. So we have 5 layers. We have 5 layers. This is the physical layer called as Annamaya Kosha. Right? So what is it made up of? Pizza, right? Sorry, Anna, food. Sorry, usually we end up feast. So there is Annamaya, so it is made up of food. Aushadha, medicine. So the layer that holds the body together, inner layer, is actually called Pranamaya. So prana means there are 5 airs. So Prabhupada explains, now remember this 369. 3rd canto, 6th chapter, 9th shloka of Srimad Bhagavatam. In the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains beautifully in detail what is the purpose of the 5 airs. Srila Prabhupada says the air upper is called prana. That's where all your thoughts, so many different. Then the air which helps you evacuate, apana. Then the air which helps you digest is samana. And then the air which is in the neck, which choking of which causes death is udana. Then vyana, balances. Now how are these airs important? Now let me ask you this thing. This is what I am coming to. The next layer is the mind, and there is a very beautiful connection between the mind and the airs. Question, where is the mind located? Somebody told me in some class, I asked, where is the mind? I said, somewhere. No, but where is the mind? Right? If you have to concentrate, we should know where is the mind, right? So what is the technical location? So this is found in Pranopanishad, in Bhagavatam, you find all this reference of where is the mind. So where is the mind? Okay, let me give you a clue. Where is the soul? Heart, right? It is 1/10,000 the tip of air. Practically means it is so small, it is immeasurable materially. That's what it means. It has its own size and shape when it goes to spiritual world. But in material world, don't try to measure according to inches and centimeters. Right? It's so small. But I asked this question to Gopi Parandan Prabhu. I don't know how many of you know him. He's the one who, proper disciple. He's the one who translated also the 11th and 12th canto, Brihad Bhagavatamrita, Laghu Bhagavatamrita, published by BBT. He's the one who... He said, the mind is a very small layer just enveloping the soul. Can you imagine? Let me give an example. Imagine you are in a bubble, like a big football or like a, this soap bubble, right? Think like a big one and you are inside it. So what you see from inside that bubble is the color of that bubble, right? Whatever color that is in, that is what you see. So if I give you green glasses, everything looks green, right? Because of the... So similarly, right now, the soul is encaged by the subtle body, and because of false ego, he is looking through that identification, and everything, what he sees, is based on his identity, our identity, right? What we think is our identity. Now let me give an example. Suppose a beautiful looking girl is walking on the road. A young man sees her. What is his thought? Oh, nice girl, let me marry her. Something like that. Huh? An old man looks at her. What does he think? Oh, she looks like my daughter. God bless her, let her have a good husband. Something like that. Huh? A tiger looks at her. What does he think? Nice prasadam, right? Huh? So it is the same object, but looked at different, by different people with different points of view. Isn't it? So similarly, everything, Patanjali explains that everything that we see in this world is colored by two things. The object and what you actually are, what is your experience of that object, right? Means what your idea is, knowledge is, and what is that object. So then the two colors merge. So the mind is here. Now interesting thing is, this mind, how does the mind transmit thought to the body? Now this is where the interesting thing comes. So this subtle body that we see here, the mind, intelligence, ego, it is one unit. It is called as chitta, according to yoga, subtle body. Now this is connected to the gross body by air, vayu. Alright? So when you are angry, how is your breathing? So everybody gets angry? Is there any anger free? Swachh Bharat Andolan, no. Anger free, no. So when we are angry, our breathing is fast, right? So when we are relaxed, how is our breathing? Very slow. So the yogis say there is a direct relation between the breathing and the thoughts. So if I stop my breathing, mechanically tries to stop the thoughts, because I cut off the carrier of thoughts, that is the air, that is the vayu, that gives signal to the whole body how to act. So the action takes place in the mind but transmitted. In 6th chapter, in my whole 2 years of doing post-graduation in yoga, the only chapter I studied in Bhagavad Gita was the 6th chapter, trying to dissect each shloka and trying to find out when Krishna is saying so many things. One of the things that Krishna says in the 6th chapter is that when the yogi brings the vayus up, right, he says the soul floats in the airs and he takes it up to Brahmarandhra, correct, here. And then wherever he can meditate and he can go, right? So if he wants to go to Los Angeles, he goes there. Nobody wants to go there. But the soul, he wants to go to Swarga, Vaikunta, he goes from here, Brahmarandhra. I was wondering what is the connection between how come the air can lift the soul. Then the whole thing made sense after Gopipandan Prabhu's revelation that the mind is here and it is connected by the airs. So gradually as the airs go up, the subtle body is carried to the region of the Brahmarandhra, and he can, all the air is concentrated here and he can leave the body. So the soul is here, the mind is here, right? And the airs, right, in the body, so they are expanding, and then there is a physical outward body. Action takes place in the mind, right? Because of the identification of the soul with false ego. So where does everything start? Identification, right? So the root of everything lies with identification. Aham Brahmasmi, right? Aham body asmi nahi. I am Brahmasmi, right? So identification is very, very important, because that is where from the thoughts are generated, which pushes the airs, right? The intelligence, mind intelligence and everything works. Now, very interestingly, the soul is in this bubble, this mind. What is next to the soul? Paramatma, right? He is the size of thumb, but it's not like this thumb. It is from this end to this end, right? Angushta, so it is said. But anyway, in the end, you cannot measure him in inches, because I asked this question to Radha Govind Maharaj. He said, it's not material measurement, don't worry. He just takes that size, that's all. So, but what is separating the Atma and Paramatma here? Arteries, right? No. The mind. Your mind. Right? 3rd canto Bhagavatam says, when the mind is completely purified, the subtle body is burnt up. Burnt up means your mind exists, But it is so crystal clear. All the material diseases, the diseases of the mind actually, what are the diseases of the mind? Kama, Krodha, Lobha, Moha, all these different things, right? Attraction. They are completely wiped out. So the mind exists there just to serve you. So the mind is transparent, crystal clear. So he can immediately turn. That is why Krishna says, Jitatmanaha prashantasya paramatma samahita. As soon as this mind becomes calm, he sees the next door neighbor. Who is that? Paramatma, Krishna, isn't it? So the yogi, that is why the focus of the yogi is the region of the heart. So that is why this layer, if we understand very clearly, breathing, there is a lot of connection. Of course, it will take a whole class to explain. But in briefly, we understand this is how the structure works. So that is why when we chant attentively, if we chant attentively, there is a purification. But when we chant attentively, it should penetrate. And it should land on the mind. We should hear attentively, right? The mind should pull the holy name. Then only it is purified. And then only it becomes calm. Srila Prabhupada says that one can achieve by pranayama, because by pranayama, when you do the Nadi Shodhana pranayama, 11th canto, it is explained by Uddhava Gita. Krishna explains that one can throw out all negative thoughts, samskaras, right? The mind can be purified. Or by chanting, Srila Prabhupada says. Very wonderful. So these are the layers. So the Anandamaya is here, right? Atma is here. Then the intelligence, mind, ego is here. And then the body. Now, this I have already explained. So the gross body and subtle body are connected by the Vayu, right? Prana. So that is why we say Radha Krishna Prana Mara. So this is what I explained till now. Oh, sorry, I am looking here. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah. Right, so this is what I explained. So the gross body is connected to the subtle body by the means of air, right? Srila Prabhupada says most health problems, mental problems are a derangement of Vayu, derangement of air. So that is why in terms of health, I suggest most, if devotees can do a little bit of Surya Namaskar, little bit of pranayam, little bit of Surya Namaskar every day, just 10 minutes. Not more than that. I taught yoga in most ISKCON temples in India, Pune, Chowpatty, everywhere. And most devotees, I gave them half an hour practice in the beginning. Then after 1 month, they did very nicely. Then they said half an hour is too much. So then you can do 10 to 15 minutes. That was very practical, right? So it's at least something, it's very important, because just by doing that, the air becomes compact. The air becomes compact, and it's very important, that synergy, to keep the mind floated, balanced. All right, let's go to the next slide. So this is a picture like a devotee or some human being. Like if you open up in the region of the heart, you will find the Atma, Paramatma, and the mind, intelligence, ego. It's like a representation. So what is the circle? The circle represents the subtle body, where you are encaged. What is next to it is Paramatma, right? So by chanting, when the mind becomes transparent, when the mind becomes peaceful, you are able to connect to Paramatma right there. So this is the goal of yoga. All right, so let's go to the next slide. So here, Srila Prabhupada explains that all the airs are generated from the center of the heart, which is one only. This central energy is superior energy of the Lord, who is seated within the heart with the soul of the body, who acts under the guidance of the Lord. So in the heart, there is one Vayu that comes out, and this super soul, Paramatma, he regulates the air pressure. He regulates everything. So Krishna consciousness means we should be conscious, right, of the Lord within the heart, always. Not just during chanting, but always. We are always conscious during prasadam, right? That's the easiest place to see. But to be always conscious and always take guidance from Him, right? We should just calm down and be very peaceful, very meditative for Him to guide us always. So once Srila Prabhupada said that that we should always strive for. He is always there, eager to give guidance, our Chaitya Guru. By being always calm. So good health means to be always calm. So devotee might have physical problems, whatever problems, but his mind is always calm. Mind is always peaceful, very focused, very concentrated mind. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. So very important thing, devotees, I would recommend every day, we should have a good diet, right? We should have, I would recommend 10 minutes at least, some form of yoga practice, Surya Namaskar or, and walking. How many of you do walking every day? Driving everybody does. Right? Some of you do walking, right? Like it's very helpful. You believe it or not. Simple walking every day for 40 minutes, right? So 35, 40 minutes. It is so beneficial. I never really realized, I thought young, why do you need to walk, right? But I really realized that even if you're young, but it keeps you so mobile and it helps the body to regulate, the breathing and everything. It's very important. So simple walking, even if you cannot do yoga or something, okay, I would say asana, pranayama, like most Maharajas in ISKCON, they do, now in old age especially, they do asana, pranayama, many of them do every morning. And it's recommended also. Take care of your health. Sleep very well. Right? Sleep very well. So how many hours? 6 to 7, right? At least nowadays we don't sleep, but good sleep, deep sleep is very, very important. So one of the things which is very helpful for sleep, I'll tell you, there was a devotee in Pune, and this is a real. He said that he had insomnia. So all the devotees contacted me and they showed me his horoscope and everything. All I said was, read Gajendra Moksha. Read Gajendra Moksha. So after 1 week I called him, Prabhuji, now I sleep so well. We don't need to look at my horoscope again. So Gajendra Moksha, for example, it says you get dreamless sleep, you get good dreams, you get peaceful. So actually if you read the Bhagavatam every day, I was about to say that, I forgot in between, that the mind, the Bhagavatam is designed in such a way that if we make a continuous habit of hearing, of reading the Srimad Bhagavatam, especially Srila Prabhupada's translation purports, continuously, regularly, every day, it can cure all diseases of the mind. So what we do every day, we should try to concentrate and look to have a continuous, consistent focus. Right? I am eager every day. Enthusiasm, isn't it? So that concentration should come. Now sometimes nowadays Facebook, social media, WhatsApp, people share so many things. Half a day goes in that, right? No? Yes, right. Everything is there. But that is all so many arrows from so many directions, right? But it won't let you focus on one particular sadhana that you want to do. It's very, very important that we set aside time, focused time, every day. And you don't need to do something for, you have to build it up over a period of time. So yogi means, my preacher, my Shiksha Guru used to tell me, yogi means, devotee means he should be a marathon runner, not sprint. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram Ram, Ram Hare Hare. That's it. No, you should be a marathon runner. You should conserve your energy because the best will come in the end. You will actually peak. Like Mahavishnu Maharaj, if you see Mahavishnu Maharaj, he was a businessman, right? And then when he became a devotee, sannyasi, what he used to do, he was a businessman, right? Gujarati. So he used to write all accounts and used to keep different papers here, there, all these things. Similarly, he started studying Bhagavatam, similarly, right? So he'll write shlokas, keep it here, keep there, same technique. Because one thing is honest occupation, right? Integral and being very sense controlled, right? So this is very, very important. So when you are old, all these good habits that you have developed, so anything you read, Bhagavatam, this chapter is here, this chapter is here. So you have to just look and it reminds you, right? Every day you remind, And then when he quit his body, he was very peaceful. He just concentrated his mind on Krishna. It was said he completely meditated and he left his body. It is so amazing. Right? When I heard that, I was amazed completely. That's how a devotee meditatively leaves his body. So very regulated, over a period of time. And when you retire, don't think we have to peak right now. Right? When we were in college, we wanted to be Goswamis. Then we realized it is so, we could be the opposite if you try too hard. So one should have wisdom. Like we aim for long run success. So 50s, that's when you keep your best for, when you really progress. But now one should regularly keep oneself in good health, slowly build it up. Don't try to too much pressure, because if you collapse, then what happens? Again, once your health goes down in young age, very difficult to get it back. Right? Very young age, people are getting diabetes, this, that now. Right? It's very difficult after that. Then don't blame Krishna. Right? So one should do everything with proper knowledge. Okay, so let's go to the next slide. So our process is Buddhi Yoga. So Buddhi Yoga, next slide, yeah. So Buddhi Yoga means, we see here, the essence of all the yoga is here. The Buddhi Yoga. Like, if you see, in the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains to Arjuna in the 3rd chapter, I think it's 3rd or 4th sloka, Lokesmin dvivida nishtha pura prokta mayanaga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. You heard this verse, right? Everybody's heard this verse. This is perhaps the beautiful explanation, most beautiful explanation of the path of yoga, connecting everything. So Krishna explains that there are 2 kinds of people in this world. Right? So this I have tried to sum up everything. What are the 2 kinds of people? Jnana yogena sankhyanam, karma yogena yoginam. So there is the jnana yogi, there is the karma yogi. So jnana yoga means renunciation. Means jnana means, what is accompanied by jnana? What is the result of jnana? Vairagya. Isn't it? By jnana you get vairagya, but by bhakti you get jnana vairagya both. So jnana yogena sankhyanam. So there is one class of people, like you see, for example, the big example that comes to my mind is the yogis who come for the Kumbh Mela. Right? They smear ash on their body and they take bath in cold water. They are renounced yogis, isn't it? So they are trying to experimentally do dhyana on the Lord. Jnana yogena sankhyanam. Or if you see, for example, Swami Chinmayananda and all that, so they give up, they become sannyasis. If you have to become jnani, true jnani, then you have to give up. Right? So, but that is one path. Jnana yoga leads to dhyana yoga. Right? In Bhagavad Gita there are 4 yogas, right? 4 names mentioned. What are they? Karma, jnana, dhyana and bhakti. Correct? So this jnana and dhyana is one. And the next is karma yoga. So we are all following path of karma yoga leading to bhakti yoga. Means, of course, it is bhakti directly, but to the intensity you practice, there is karma mishra bhakti also. Correct? Right? So we are all trying to dedicate our work. Bhakti yoga means where you are full conscious, where you are fully aware of the personality of Krishna and reciprocate with Krishna. But now we are following instructions where we are trying to connect our occupation with Krishna consciousness. Isn't it? Not complete. So, the yogi, what he does, the jnana and jnana yogi, they try to purify, they try to focusedly purify the senses by denying the senses. The jnana yogi denies the senses. He tries to sit down and he tries to, like in Ashtanga yoga, they try to completely purify the body, stop the body by practicing asana pranayama. Then they try to come to the point of meditation, right? And they try to meditate on Paramatma. Like it's a long process. So he is trying to reach the Paramatma by that way. But what is a devotee trying to do? By Karma Yoga, you are trying the same goal. But what is our process? Whatever we are doing, we are trying to offer it to Krishna, isn't it? So that is our purification of senses. For example, what is the money we get? We don't go to any bar, right? Where do we go? Disneyland. No. Where do we go? We go to the temple. Right? Every Sunday, you come to the temple. You go on Harinam, isn't it? I mean, ISV, number one center for book distribution in North America. Correct? So you all go on book distribution. Very inspired. Right? So more than donating money, Krishna is very inspired when you donate your body and your mind. That is the essence. Body, mind and intelligence, right? With intelligence, you are worshipping Krishna. So, by using these senses, completely engaging the senses, completely engaging the body and mind in the service of Krishna, a bhakti yogi, karma yogi leading to bhakti yoga, we are trying to achieve our level of Krishna consciousness. Okay, next slide. Now, Patanjali explains how can this be done. So, we need to have two things, which I have explained in the first part. One is practice, isn't it? Practice every day. What do we need to practice? Sadhana is our practice. How to chant attentively. How many of us evaluate every day how we chant? How many of you evaluate? How was my chanting? How many rounds were disturbance free? How many were disturbed rounds? Anybody keeps a sadhana chart? 1, 2, 3. Very few. Everybody chants 16 rounds here? Most of you, right? Most of you are initiated also. So, it's good to evaluate, right? When I look back 2 or 3 years, how was my level of chanting and how is it now? Is it good to keep it evaluated? Evaluate yourself, right? So, it's very important to practice, right? Consistent practice, but also to improve your practice. And second thing is Vairagya. So, Vairagya means we have a complete, in Patanjali Yoga Sutras, there is one sutra which I like the most. He says, behind every material enjoyment, there is a hidden pain. There is a hidden pain, isn't it? When you eat nicely pizza and gulab jamun today, there is pain tomorrow. Correct? Or in the future, right? If you continuously eat lot of sweets, suddenly you go to the doctor and you discover you have diabetes or something, right? So, for every material pleasure, there is a hidden pain. So, what is the policy of a yogi? The yogi's policy is heyam dukkham anagatam, to avoid future miseries, isn't it? Why are we adopting Krishna consciousness? So that we don't have to take birth again, right? Again, green card, resident who wants, right? One life is enough. So that we don't suffer again. We want to go back to Krishna and live our eternal life. So what is practice? There is a very beautiful definition. So let's go to the next slide. So abhyasa. So what is practice? He says, regulated efforts aimed at controlling the mind. So regulated efforts. So we should be very regulated. I'm sure most of you already are. Looking at such bright faces in the temple, you already get a feeling, right? Everybody is very serious about their practice. And what are these regulated efforts for? There was one word for which there was a 2-hour debate. We know that there are some changes made to Bhagavad Gita, right? There are so many discussions and controversies, but there was one change which once Jayadvaita Maharaj, I was going with him and there was a discussion with another devotee. So this devotee challenged Maharaj, why did you change the word, right? There is in 6th chapter, there is a word about practice of Ashtanga Yoga. So there, the translation in the earlier edition, it says, by continuous practice, right? Continuous practice, constant practice, right? And that word was changed from constant to suitable practice. So there was a big debate whether it is constant practice or suitable practice. So when you hear the word, what rings to your mind? Constant practice is important or suitable practice is important? constant, but also, but I found the suitable. Suitable means you understand the essence of the practice and adopt it according to the way you want to practice, right? So there was a beautiful discussion. So basically, in the Bhagavad Gita, one needs to practice in a very, very regulated way. Now, in order to gain concentration of mind, it says in the yoga practice that you should practice something at least for 24 minutes to get a sanskara. Why is 24 minutes? Because that is called as one ghatika. In yoga practice, it is said any meditation you do, if you want the mind to get some tangible samskara out of that meditation, then it should be done at least for 24 minutes or multiples of 24. So if you multiply 24 into 5, how much is it? 120. That is 2 hours. That is called one dharana. So our chanting goes at least 2 hours. When done at once, if you do it at once, it is said one dharana, it gives you a powerful samskara.